Angry guy here. And women are telling other women to only date men who worship them as passport bros leave. Women are telling other women to only date men who worship them as password bros leave. You cannot make this stuff up, guys. They're telling other women to only date men who worship them, only date men who view them as their dream girl. So basically, they have to be over the hill for you. You have to be their soulmate. They have to worship the ground that you walk on. I mean, this is just absolutely unbelievable. But you know what? We should not be surprised when it comes to the way modern day women view men in relationships. Let's jump right into the video.
Hi, ladies. Morning. Well, it's morning to me. Could be good afternoon or good evening, depending on what time of the day you're watching this video. Well, welcome. Regardless, welcome to this channel. Welcome to this video. And for those of you who don't know me, I'm Carla. I'm the founder of the Feminine Energy. And I wanted to come here today to this video to talk about how you should only be dating men who see you as their dream woman. And I think this is so important because if you're following the feminine energy on Facebook, or if you are on any Facebook group or any other groups relating to dating and relationships, so especially where women ask questions, oh, this happened to me, what should I do? Why is he acting this way? Why is he acting that way, etc. So, there's a lot of questions around men's behavior on relationships or on dating, on from women who feel like they aren't being treated properly, or they don't understand a man's certain type of behavior. Like, for example, they were dating and he stopped communicating, or he ghosted, or he's just busy, not always available, all sorts of things, all sort of issues. And so I wanted to do this video because I think it's important to realize that, well, men are very practical and much more than women sometimes, especially when in regards to dating. And they know what a woman means to them, what is her value to them, and where does he sees a woman in his life, or his perceived value of her. And sometimes it's not the value that we think we have, or we wish we had. So sometimes what happens is, well, there's a difference between being a dream woman. I think before we continue, I think it's important to say this. There's a difference between being a dream woman and being a placeholder. So, and many women don't realize this. And what is a placeholder, and what is a dream woman? So a placeholder is just a woman who is in a man's life just to, fill a void, basically, just for his own benefit. So he doesn't see her as his dream woman, but she is a woman who is there available and for him to benefit in some way, sexually, or she is giving him attention or validation or emotional support. Sometimes even her resources, and very often she does a lot of things for him, and sometimes expecting him to see her as a dream woman. So she does a lot for him. So, but she is not his dream woman. He is not emotionally invested. His heart is not into her. He's not into the relationship or the dating situation or the situationship, whatever you want to call it. Uh, so he is not fully in it. So he is not committed. He is not. Um, it's just basically there to fill a void. She's there to fill a void, and why not? And many women ask why, but why does he do this? Because he can, basically, because he has a woman who let him. So she doesn't mind to.
So basically, she's saying that the man has to be in overly obsessed with her, has to be in love with her, has to desire her. I mean, most guys, most modern men that have taken the R pill, and they've come to the conclusion that the juice is not worth the squeeze. If they are dating, they're not going to become overly emotionally invested. Women don't become overly emotionally invested in the men that they're with unless it's Chad, Brad, Tyrone, Ray Ray, or Pookie, the guys that she actually loves. But when it comes to the normal man, she doesn't love you. She loves the things you can do for her. She might love how tall you are. She might love your body. She might love the money that you have and the things you can buy for her, your utility, the attention that you give to her. But she doesn't love you as a person. And this woman is basically saying that you need to go and find women need to find themselves a man that's infatuated with them. And that's absolutely ridiculous, because what they're doing is they're trying to find a guy that won't leave them, because more and more men today are not willing to commit and invest emotionally. All right, because that's what was happening before. Men were investing emotionally. They were giving these women their hearts, and these women were taking their hearts and using them, wringing them dry, and then putting them out to pasture. And a lot of men who enter into relationships these days, their hearts have been played with so much that they're not giving they're there physically, but they're not giving you their spirit. They're not investing spiritually. All right. And your dream, you have to, the man has to be you have to be his dream woman. You're going to be looking for a very long time. And by the way, guys, if you're enjoying these videos, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, never miss another video again, and like the video so that YouTube knows you're enjoying the content and you want to see more, and they'll show you more. They're basically looking for a man who will not leave them and that will give them that soft girl life, because that's what they're looking for. They're all looking for the soft girl life, but they don't. But at the same time, they're seeing the writing on the wall. She may have experienced it already, where she's with a guy and he's only there for one thing. He's only there temporary. Really, she might have even found out that she was a side chick. Okay, she thought she was the main character, and then she found out that he was treating her like an NPC. Okay, he was just there collecting items from her, and then going on about his business, and that's really how it is. And they're discovering this, and now they're basically like, oh, we need to take precautions, because we need to know that these guys are truly invested in us before we do anything for them or we give them anything. Here's the thing: if you play that game, like, you don't have a lot of leverage. A 40-year-old woman thinks that she has a ton of leverage, versus because guys can't go out and get 20 somethings. And it's crazy, because if you listen to the way that these women talk about foreign women, it doesn't matter how beautiful the foreign woman is. It doesn't matter how educated she is. None of these things matter. The American women from the UK, Australia, Canada, Western countries, they will, no matter how beautiful, how educated, how kind and giving and helpful and agreeable this woman is, none of those things matter. The Western woman will always believe that she is better than the foreign woman. She believes that she has more appeal because she is modernized. She comes from America. She comes from the UK. She comes from Aussie. She comes from Canada. And it's ridiculous. There's some of you guys, and also I just want to tell you guys, some of y'all think that you're gonna go down to like Mexico and get yourself a chick down there. Mexico is not the best place to go looking for a woman. And I'll explain why. If you want a woman in Mexico, you have to like go to like the villages where these women are, like, they don't really know much about the city life and anything like that. Because those women down there are modernized. They're just looking for a man to get them into the US so they can get that green card and move to the next stage of their life. Don't get it twisted. Mexico is right next to the United States, okay? All right, I spent time in Mexico. So some of y'all think that you're gonna go over to Mexico and get yourself, get a Mexican girl. I've been hearing from brothers in Mexico too, and they're saying that they're struggling over there. And I've met a lot of these girls in Mexico, and they're about that money. They're about that money. Okay, a lot of them are very career orientated as well, and you have to be very, very careful because they'll look for a foreign guy and they'll say, okay, yeah, I'm gonna get my green card off him. I know a woman in Mexico who she had kids with an American. He went back to the United States. Last I saw her, she told me that she had that there's that she used the system to track him down in the United States. They will help the foreign women. They will help the women from Mexico to track down these men in America. And she tracked him down. And she said to me, and I said to her, she's like, I got my child support. And I said, oh, how much did you get? And she goes, 25. And I go, oh, $2,500? She said, 25,000. I'm like, what? Let me explain something to you. If he was living in Mexico with her, she would never get that kind of money from him. Never. She would never get that kind of money from him. The reason why she was able to get that amount of money is because she went through the American court system. Okay? Because even in the United States, that's quite a bit of money, $25,000. And that's what she was. So she was able to get American money from Mexico. So you guys, don't be disillusioned. Don't fool yourselves. Know what you're getting into. Know what you're getting into. Okay? You have to know the country's laws. You have to know how they work. You need to know the child support system. Before you go to these countries, you need to know what you're getting into. I have a package coming for you guys. I want to be putting out. It's going to give you all the information you need, everything you need to do to prepare for your trip, everything you need to know about these countries, everything you need to know about the laws regarding SA and everything else. Like, what if you get into a relationship? Why you don't want to live with a woman in the Philippines? I bet many of you didn't know that if you live with a woman in the Philippines, then you become financially responsible for her, and she can take you to court and have you criminally charged for abandoning her and leaving her and putting her in poverty. Yeah, I bet you don't have to marry. You don't actually have to marry her in the Philippines. If you just live with her, she can take you to court and say that you were providing for her, and now you've put her out of the home, and you've left her impoverished, even if she was impoverished before you met her. Okay, and the court can actually charge you with a crime. You can be criminally charged. So you have to know what you're doing before you go over to these countries. All right? A lot of things that you don't know. It's like, you have to listen. While you can find quality women over there, there's a lot of women running game over there. There's a lot of women trying to finesse over there. You have to know what you're doing. You have to know the system over there. You have to know the terms over there. You have to know what the women are looking for. You have to know how to interact so that you can get what you want. A lot of you will jump over there and you'll immediately fall in love with the first girl because she'll finesse you. All right? And you don't even realize you're being finessed. You even realize you're being finessed because a lot of you guys are good guys. Some of y'all think you're bad, but you're not bad. All right? These girls are bad, but they'll present themselves as good girls. All right? Don't, because this is how they've been conditioned. You don't want that. You have to know what to do. You have to know how to handle things. You have to also know how to keep distance. Because, for example, you meet their family and they'll try to get you wrapped up into their lives, and then suddenly they're like, "Oh my gosh, there's someone, there's this gang that they're demanding 20,000 American dollars for my daughter's freedom," or for example, you go over there, you meet this girl, and now it's time to go back to the U.S. And suddenly, she tells you before you leave that that she's going to be homeless because she can't go back to where she was living anymore. Really, she can't go back anymore, right? And then the guy's like, okay, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to go take care of this right now. And she's using her head, putting him in a situation where he's gonna go and blow out money and set her up. All right, and guess what? You know the funny thing? He goes back to the U.S. He's paying for her apartment, right? He's paying for her apartment. He's paying for her food, paying for the bills. All right, so he's covering the electricity, all the rent over there, everything he's paying for. Gave her money to furnish it. So she's living comfortably there. And you don't even realize that she already picked up another dude. And she has dudes coming and going on your bill, on your dime. And there's some of y'all that will fall in love and do these things. And you'll be amazed. As soon as you get over there, it's a very different world. These women, they will approach you. They'll talk to you, and they'll start telling you, let's get married right away. Right away. They're like, let's get married. Let's get married. Why do they want to marry you so quickly? Because they want to get, because some of them want to get to America, and they want to lock you down so that they can get access to your resources. All right? Because now you're going to be their come up, their path out of poverty. And you cannot have that. You have to know what you're doing. You have to know the rules. And for example, don't assume that the way that the laws work in the United States are the way that the laws work over there. You have to work with a lawyer from over there. All right? And you have to understand the specific laws within that country. Okay? This whole thing about you need to, the man needs to love you, like really love you. You better be his dream girl. They're going to be waiting a long time. They want men who worship them. And this is crazy. Okay? That's crazy. And the thing about it is, these women, when they do these things, they think that they're going to say, okay, if he doesn't want to play by your rules, leave him, girl. You will find the man for you. He is not the man for you. Leave him, girl. This is what they're doing. This is literally what they're doing. They're like, if he doesn't want to live by those standards, then leave him, girl. You are going to find the man who is for you. Ignore this man, all right? Ignore this man. Do not take him seriously. That's what they're getting at. That's the game that they're playing. And then I feel sorry for you. I feel sorry for you because you fall prey to that. You fall victim to it. And again, though, a lot of these women don't seem to comprehend, why is a guy going to go and get himself a woman who's 40 years old and fall head over heels with a 40-year-old woman who may very well not be able to give him children, when he can get a 22-year-old? You didn't want him at your best, but now you want him to take you at your worst. So when he's at his best, you want him to take you at your worst. And when you were at your best, you didn't want to take him when he was still developing as a man. You weren't going to date potential. You were not going to invest in potential. But now that he's manifested himself, you want everything. And what do you have to offer as a woman? Women need, listen, in this modern day era, for example, I heard about this woman who went and she took like a culinary class. She went to culinary school and she learned how to cook just so she can cook for her husband. This is the kind of thing that women need to be doing. Just simply being able to say, I can cook and I can clean, that's not enough. That's not enough. All right? Because men have leveled up. The men of today are not men of 50, 60 years ago. Men back in those days were not giving women what men today are giving women. They give them a place to sleep, food to eat, and clothing and shelter, and that was it. They weren't giving them luxuries. All right? 100 years ago, you've got to be kidding me. Back in our grandpa's days, you've got to be kidding me. Okay? Now men are like, you got to make sure that she can get her hair done, her nails done regularly. She can buy this and buy that. I mean, men are giving women extraordinary comfort and luxury, and it's not enough because she wants to be able to spend $1,000 a day, couple $1,000 a day. It's crazy. She wants to live far outside of her means. All right, she makes $30,000 a year, but then she calls a guy making 70 a broke boy because she's on Instagram and all these men are in her DMs telling her how wonderful she is and how much they want to be in a relationship with her. But the truth is that a lot of women are beginning to pick up on it, that many of those guys in their DMs are not really A lot of those guys are not even men that they're not even men that they would even want to have a relationship with. You think those guys are millionaires? Guys, use your heads. You think most of the guys that are messaging these women are millionaires? Most of these guys are only making like maybe 40, 50, $60,000 a year. A lot of these guys are SIMPs. All right? They don't have that kind of money. A lot of y'all are sitting here acting like there will always be SIMPs. There always will be. And these women will always have choices. Think about it, guys. The average, only 17% of men in the U.S. make $100,000 a year. Only 8% of women, or to be exact, 8.6% of women make $100,000 a year in the U.S. The average man makes $50,000. The average woman makes $36,000. And somehow, some of you guys can't get it through your heads that most of the guys that are messaging these women on Instagram are not making even $70,000 a year. What are you thinking? Most of these guys are not making that kind of money. You hear stories about these guys who they spend everything on OF bottles, they max out credit cards, and then they go broke. You guys are acting like these are high-value men messaging these women. Are you crazy? What do high-value men have? They have options. Why would high-value men be messaging these women? Use your heads. These are low-value men. These are often guys that don't have money like that. They have maybe $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. And that's not a terrible job, but I'm explaining to you guys that these are not high value men. These are plan C guys, and many of them are even plan D guys. A lot of these guys are plan D guys. All right? They're desperate. These are desperate guys. All right? D stands for desperate. Just like how women will use a plan D guy when she's desperate, these men are desperate. That's why they'll end up getting used. Because they are desperate. These are the same guys that will invite a homeless girl to come stay at their house. They'll meet a homeless girl on the street, and they'll invite her to come stay at her house. And we were all desperate ones, but many of us have learned our lessons. We were all simps once, but many of us have learned our lessons. These guys will see a homeless girl and tell her to come stay at his house, and he won't get anything from her. And then you know what's funny? He'll invite problems onto himself. And no one, and you know what? No one can feel sorry for him. No one should feel sorry for him.
To be treated less than what she deserves, because usually these men, because it's not that these men are bad people or they're doing it on purpose to treat a woman badly. It's just his heart is not in it, so he's not gonna have certain behaviors like his heart is in it, like he feels very emotionally connected to her. He's not gonna have certain behaviors. So sometimes he shows up as very inconsistent, or he's always busy, or he only takes me on cheap and lazy dates, or he doesn't plan any dates. It's just Netflix and chill.
Cheap and lazy dates, because he's not spending large amounts of money on her. Guys, these women are looking for high value men that worship them. They don't want guys making $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a year. All right? They call $70,000 a year. You're a broke boy if you make $70,000 a year. But here's the craziest thing. You have these guys who make $70,000 a year, and they're not in relationships, and they're not dating. And these guys say, they invest in different things. They invest in crypto. They invest in real estate. They make $70,000 a year, but they invest in crypto. They reinvest in real estate. 5 years, 6 years later, these guys have $500,000 in the bank. All right? They have $500,000 in the bank. And these women and some of the SIMPs are still insulting these men. And they don't have that kind of money. These men can live very comfortable lives, and they are hard-working men because they have continuous amounts of income coming in, and they have multiple streams of income. So they have $500,000 in the bank, Yeah, they're making their $70,000 a year, but they have $500,000 in the bank, and they have multiple streams of income. That 70,000 is just from their main job. They have money coming from real estate. They have money coming from crypto. They have money coming from the stock market. They have money coming from all different places. They have a YouTube channel where they give tips and tricks. They're making money from that as well. They have multiple streams of income. And these women are calling them broke boys. And then these men go overseas and they get a Filipina or a woman from an Asian woman, and they give her an incredible life. And she has a house with everything she could want in there. And she's living a high value life. And she's dressing really well and living well and eating well. You cannot live much better than this. She's living in a huge house. And these women in America are saying, oh, you're not giving her what she's supposed to be getting. You live and like they're living in apartments, and they're struggling to buy food. In fact, they're not even buying food for themselves. They're relying on orbiters to buy food for them. Texting this man like, oh, I'm bored. You want to come over and hang out with me? Bring a pizza? Because they're relying on these men to provide for them. That's why they don't want the orbiters to leave. That's why they attack the password bros, because they know without those orbiters, a lot of them won't even be able to survive. Because they have these beta male orbiters paying their rent. They have these beta male orbiters feeding them, filling up their fridge with groceries. Guys, you watch some of these videos, and these orbiters are terrible. Talking when you take a woman out, take her to the supermarket, tell her fill up her cart, and fill up her cart. Then tell her go and get her car and fill up her car. What kind of beta male nonsense is this? All right, you're gonna show her how serious you really are. You're gonna put food in her fridge. You're gonna put gas in her car. All right. You're going to tell her to order. You're going to take her to eat and tell her to order whatever she wants off the menu. Okay? Like, what kind of orbiting is this? What kind of orbiting is this? What he's doing is he's basically using money and trying to say like, oh, I'll hold you down and I can hold you down. And then what are you doing, bro? She doesn't even like you. She just likes your money and what you can do for her. And that's all you're feeding. But he's so desperate. He's so desperate that this is what he's doing. Because men don't realize that they're the prize. They're the prize. And you don't give everything away. Okay? You have to be in a relationship. You have to be logical and reasonable and rational. If you are a millionaire and you marry a woman, you don't give her a millionaire lifestyle. You live humbly and you live within your means. I like the way Shaquille O'Neal says it. There's a difference between the rich and the wealthy. Okay? The rich, they spend all of their money. The wealthy, they fold it in half. Okay? They fold it in half. They get a certain amount, they fold it in half. All right? And they put half away. And then the rest is what they use. And you know what he said? He said that the really smart ones, they take that half and then they fold that again. They fold that again. And that quarter that's left, that's what they play with. That's how you stay wealthy. That's the money that they use, that quarter. All right? So half of their money, so 75% of their money, they are saving and or investing. 75% of their money is between savings and investment. And only quarter of their money is being used to pay for their bills and fun time. And most women would not like that. Guess what? If they don't like that, then you shouldn't be with them, because that's all of these women living these lives. They're going to end up broke. Because that type of lifestyle is not sustainable for men, and yet they believe that it's sustainable for them. The average woman makes only $36,000 a year, while the average man makes $50,000 a year. but yet they are beautiful, they are smart, they're going to get everything that they want. No, no, they're guys. 45% of women will be single and childless in 2030. 45% will be single and childless in 2030. That's a giant number. And not only that, I will be like in 2030, I'll be what? 2030, that's 7 years from now, I'll be 47 years old. Not terrible, but I'll be 47 in 2030. And the oldest of the millennials who were born in 1981 will be 49. You're going to have a lot of millennial women in their 30s. The youngest of the millennial women in 2030, the youngest of the millennial women in 2030 are going to be around 34, 35. The youngest, the absolute youngest. All right? That's a geriatric pregnancy. Okay? It's crazy. Most millennials come 2030 will be in their 40s. Most millennial women come 2030, that's in 7 years, will be in their 40s. And they will be childless and they will be single. What are they going to do? And by then, automation will have, guys, 70% of the jobs that women do are I think it was 71%, are all susceptible to being completely eliminated by artificial intelligence. 71%. Men are better insulated from AI, but women are not. 71% of their jobs, guys. 7 years, companies are already rushing to implement AI. In 7 years, that's almost a decade from now. It'll go by very quickly. 7 years, the world is going to be a very different place than it is now. And in 7 years, when AI has been more developed and integrated into society, it's going to be a big part of our everyday lives. Everyone's going to have to learn how to use it. Those jobs are going to be gone. Those jobs are going to be gone. Right now, they've already said in healthcare, AI is set to wipe out tons of jobs in healthcare for healthcare workers. This is doctors. This is nurses. This is healthcare techs. All right? These are techs. These jobs are going to be wiped out. How can these jobs be wiped out? Because a lot of the things that they do are administrative. A lot of the things they do are just diagnostic. The machines are going to do a lot of the diagnostic work. It's going to eliminate the need for those people. So when you go into the emergency room, when you go into the hospital, when you go into the clinic, most people, they go there for the sniffles. They go for the sniffles. Now you're going to walk up to a kiosk, all right? Put your hand or your finger or your hand, your wrist into something. It's going to take your blood pressure. It's going to take your temperature, your pulse. It's going to grab all your vitals. Okay? It's going to grab all your vitals. It's crazy. Okay? If it needs to look into your eyes, it'll have a camera equipped on there, an infrared camera. It'll say, please look into this. Please look into this, into the camera right here. Keep your eye open. And it'll take a shot. Okay, please put your eye in. It'll take another shot. Boop. All right. So now it's taking scans of your eyes. And not only has it taken scans of your eyes, it can analyze those scans much better than any doctor ever could. And do imaging, save those images. It's going to be insane. All right? It's going to be absolutely insane. It's going to do all of these diagnostics rapidly. There are going to be some tests that can be done where it'll be basically measure the veins in your finger, and it'll be able to measure things within your body. So maybe it won't be able to give you the entire blood test, but we'll be able to do this. We're going to enter a period of time where where these machines will scan you, and without even drawing blood from you, it's going to happen in the coming years. They're going to be able to gather all this information without even taking blood. Without ever taking blood is to gather all the information that you used to need a blood test to. And using this information, it's going to diagnose you. You're going to get your prescription and everything. And there's going to be one doctor sitting, working remotely that will basically review this and approve it. And it'll all be done very, very rapidly. And the insurance companies will mandate this. So a lot of doctors are going to be out of the job. A lot of nurses are going to be out of the job. All those people who sit behind the desk checking in patients, they're going to be out of a job. They're going to be out of a job. They're not going to have a job. That's really what it is. And all these women who want to live soft girl lives, all right, they're going to be living difficult lives, very, very difficult lives, all right? I asked you guys, what do you think is coming next after soft girl era? And most of you guys said demoralized girl era. Because a lot of women are going to be absolutely demoralized. Guys, what do you think about this? Women are telling other women to date only men who worship them as password bros believe. How absolutely ridiculous is that? How absolutely ridiculous is that? Reddit. What do you guys think about this? You know what I think, but I want to hear your thoughts on all of this. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA and walking away and cheers.